Night is at its end and morning is about to crest over the horizon. And while she prepares for sleep, if you could call it that, only one person on her list is looking to see her. But perhaps tomorrow, Tamika or Agathon will call for her as well. But first, she rests. You come back to your haven after a long night out. Right before you open the door, you notice something strange. The sound of television coming from your apartment. Mad Men, if you're not mistaken. You open the door carefully and peek in. A young, disheveled woman is curled up on your sofa. She has pulled a blanket on top of her and seems very comfortable. Next to her lies an obviously unconscious, preppy female. "Oh, you're home." The woman reaches out for the remote and puts Mad Men on pause. "You weren't home, so I started without you. You know, Netflix and chill. Join me, there's some space on the sofa. I brought us a snack. You enjoyed it the last time." The woman points lazily to the unconscious girl. "Oh, I forgot. My name's Adelaide. Adelaide Davis. I like you a lot. Help yourself and settle in." We do need to feed, so this might be an opportunity to feed, and as long as I have blood in my system... Okay, here's my fear, as somebody who knows vampire well. I hope this doesn't mean I'm also going to bang this girl or fool around with this girl, because that is a blood bond waiting to happen. Specifically, there are all kinds of rules about trying to slip a blood bond in while you're messing around with another vampire. I don't know if I want to do it. She's also wearing, like, some weird fox around her. But I need to eat, and I don't want to have the beast take over at the wrong time, so I'm going to feed. Adelaide makes space on the sofa as you sit down between her and the unconscious mortal. You lean to drink from the girl as Adelaide uses the remote to turn Mad Men back on. The girl moans sleepily as you drink from her, but doesn't wake. Her blood tastes pleasant and unhurried, a far cry from the adrenaline of blood you get by hunting a victim who knows you're coming. As you lick the girl's wounds closed and sit back on the sofa, Adelaide lies down and rests her head in your lap. "Isn't this nice?" I don't like the fact that I've clearly agreed to dating. I've always liked Mad Men. Me too. It reminds me of another life long ago, even if it wasn't quite like they put in the show. I remember more blood and screams. You watch the show together, taking small sips from the human every now and then. You didn't know vampires could spend time like this. The door to your apartment opens. Your mind is elsewhere and you react slowly. Sophie strides into your living room. She has a key to your haven and never bothers to knock, of course. Since when? Since when does she ever do this? "You're shacking up with Adelaide Davis, the scourge of Snug Harbor in the flesh. This is a new low for you, fledgling." Okay, I didn't know who that was. "I'm embarrassed for you, really. Perhaps I should not be surprised." Wow, I like how it's like panic, panic. Adelaide, you better go. Adelaide, you better go. Adelaide glances at Sophie and gives you a quick kiss on the cheek. Sophie sighs. That's just such a, I feel like we've missed like 2 chapters of character building. Like, why is she kissing me? Just because I drank from the person she brought me. Adelaide leaves the room, making sure to give as wide a berth to Sophie as possible. Sophie waits for the door of the apartment to sound before she speaks. "The Clan of the Moon. Did I not advise caution when dealing with them?" She's a Malkavian. As you watch, Sophie makes a phone call. 10 minutes later, 2 of her servants arrive and take out the unconscious girl sprawled on your sofa. "You clearly need my help. It won't happen tonight, but let me see if I can resolve your stalker problem for real." You're left to wonder what Sophie meant by that as she leaves your haven. Okay. So bizarre. Sophie requests your presence tonight, and it seems urgent. You find her already waiting for you and clearly considering something. It takes some minutes of awkward silence before she speaks. "I require your assistance, Jessica. There's a matter of great importance that I need to ask of you to resolve for me. You will find out what I'm saying. You will find what I'm saying surprising, I'm sure, but I need you to hear me out. I need you to contact an important Anarch figure in NYC and arrange a meeting for us. Anarchs, for those who don't know, I'm also still hungry apparently. Anarchs are the other side of the government coin. I think I maybe even briefly spoke about them at the beginning of this series, but while we're operating within the Camarilla and their government, their kind of feudal system, Anarchs are, well, it depends on what Anarchs are doing in the city. A lot of them try to run a more democratic style government where everybody has a voice as opposed to this power structure. But if you ask me, and you read a lot of the stories and the like, Anarchs just tend to be a millennial flavor of, shall we say, rebellious feudalism. It's democratic and they might have a council, but kindred live a long time. And over those many decades and centuries, there really is nothing for them to do other than accrue power. And there's a certain limit on a true democracy. Anarch democracies don't ever really last. Aren't meeting, I don't think they're forbidden. I mean, unless in New York it's forbidden. In the Chicago game I run, it's not forbidden. They have this strip of, in Chicago, to the south is where the Anarchs are, to the north and all of Chicago is kind of where the Camarilla lies, and there's a dividing highway line. I want to say it's the I-90, could be wrong. But there's a strip of land right below it that the Camarilla claims is theirs and the Anarch claims is theirs, and there's fighting kind of happening actively in there. But for the most part, the Camarilla ignores the Anarchs because of the actions in season 1 that the players took that heavily empowered the Camarilla, and the Camarilla then kind of just kicked the Anarchs in the nuts and really weakened them, but allowed them a small piece of land to the south that's kind of meaningless and worthless. But that's just what I'm doing. So I don't know. Let's see what happens when I say this, because I'm curious if meeting with Anarchs is forbidden. Wait, I'm pretty sure we're not supposed to meet with Anarchs. We're at war, right? The prince does look unfavorably at those who meet with Anarchs, that much is true. You will find that this, as with many other things, the Camarilla policies have more than their share of hypocrisy inherent to them. It comes hand in hand with using medieval power structures. Again, something that the players are still kind of learning in my game. They have all these laws, and they were kind of just scarred, and one of the party members that was in their party was very paranoid, so they kind of learned to like try and obey the law to the letter while still trying to climb the power ladder, and it just doesn't work that way. If you want power, you have to start breaking rules. As long as nobody's seeing you or catching you, are you really breaking any laws? What we are forbidden to do, the prince may do willingly. Some of these things can be done in the open, others are kept secret as to not invite discord and discontent. I need to contact a man named Torque. He is an influential member of the movement, and like most of them, very suspicious of the Camarilla. That's why I'm sending you to extend my invitation. Interesting. So the prince seems to have a very similar kind of hold over the city in regards to what seems to be like the Anarchs. Maybe mine's a little bit freer, a little bit looser on the rules. She is a Toreador after all. And the Prince of New York is a Ventru, so tighter iron grip, blue bloods and all that. But mine's she too looks unfavorably dealing with the Anarchs, but it is not outlawed so long as the deals being done aren't deals to weaken the Camarilla kind of thing. Which means very little deals get done in the first place because Anarchs aren't looking to empower the Camarilla. So, you know, you kind of have that weird muddy area where she's like, you can deal with them, but you can't empower them with it. And of course, that's all the Anarchs want to do. So no one really gets any deals done. It's a softer way of putting an iron grip over it while still allowing room for those to go and meet up with the Anarchs if they think they can get something out of it. I like to play my politics. I love Vampire. I love running systems. Ventru princes are some of my favorite, but I'm running a Toreador prince for the first time, and it's just, there's so many ways to play that political angle. It's such a good time. What are you scheming, Sophie? Say I arrange the meeting, what next? I have something to offer Torque. A chance to set things straight, both for the Anarchs and for us. Especially for us. From my limited resources adjacent to the movement, I've gathered that your best chance to speak to Torque is to first meet with his right-hand woman, Mia. She's a regular at a club called the Leech Pit. I think it would be best if you presented yourself as an Anarch hopeful, a fledgling looking for a place to belong. Only once you talk to Torque directly should you mention my name in the meeting. I don't think that's the right approach. Lying to them won't make them trust me. When they find out the truth, they won't be happy or eager to work with us. That might be true, but if you tell Mia outright that I sent you, she's likely to cut you off. She hates our sect and will be difficult to make her listen to reason. After tonight, I suggest that we do not speak of this again until you arrange the meeting. There are many who would jump at the chance to use this against us. With Kaiser, you have proven you can get the job done, even if it requires additional legwork. I am trusting you to deal with this task as quickly and covertly as possible. Forgive me, but that's all the time I can spare tonight. What I'm asking of you is just a part of a bigger whole. Trust me, it will all be worth it. Okay, I'll do my best. I know you will. Check with Gregory for the address of the leech pit. Have me introduce you to Torque. When she does, tell him I wish to meet. Let him pick the time and place, but let it be soon. If he proves too guarded, tell him I have something that will help him gather allies against Boss Callahan. That should pique his interest. Good luck, and obviously not a word about this to anyone else, not even any new friends you might have made in recent nights. This stays between us. The way she says that final sentence suggests a not-so-veiled threat, but her warm smile belies that impression. You want her to keep trusting you. You wouldn't want to disappoint her. Gregory gives you the address. The club is in Brooklyn. Apparently it's some kind of heavy metal pub with a dedicated concert space. Time to pay this Mia a visit. The place is teeming with people tonight. You arrive in the middle of a concert. The music is loud, almost deafening, and it takes you a while to get used to it. This is not your scene at all. You can barely focus through the noise, but grit your teeth and decide to just bear it. The sooner you find Mia, the sooner you'll get out of this hole. A group of a few dozen patrons are tightly packed in, and the smell of their sweat and youthful, excited blood overwhelms you momentarily. It's with some difficulty that you turn to the task at hand. You've heard your share about the Anarchs and how they fit into kindred politics, but you only have your short encounter in Corona Park to base your actual opinion on of the faction on. That might have been just a horrible first impression, but you're keeping your guard up, just in case. We do need to eat still? I don't know what this means. Is it a masquerade breach? Let's see. First things first, the atmosphere of this place is distracting you, the beast nagging to be fed. If you're to put your best foot forward, best get that need out of the way temporarily. The place brims with opportunities. You decide it might be easiest just to grab a somewhat drunk concert goer that strikes your fancy and see whether they'd be willing to indulge you. Sure enough, you chat up a tipsy patron and hit it off quickly, augmenting your charm with the power of your blood in the interest of time. You don't catch her name. She's been waiting for her boyfriend, but he hasn't shown, and she was pretty much ready to dump him anyway, so hey, here's to new beginnings. Another vodka shot disappears in her throat. She kisses you on the mouth. It's super sloppy, and the alcohol on her breath is overbearing. You take your chance and kiss her neck, then bite down. Yeah, her evening's drinkings definitely colors the way her blood tastes. Alcohol and melancholy. Not a combo you're unfamiliar with. Why the is Anakin Skywalker back here just like watching us, dude? It's creeping me out. Somebody smacks you on the head and rips you off the girl just as you lick the wounds closed. He throws you to the ground. Uh-oh, it's the boyfriend. The argument they get into as your victim seemingly immediately sobers up gives you the chance to mix in with the crowd, dispersing. The concert is over. A hand on your shoulder. You instinctively tense up and prepare to dodge a punch. Instead, you come face to face with a lanky woman in a jacket 2 sizes too big for her frame. Follow me behind the bar, Lick. I got a few questions, and you better give me snappy answers if you know what's good for you. She leads you through the bar to a back door that leads inside a side room. Indie metal band posters are plastered on every wall, some of them 20 or more years old, judging from the tour dates. An old sticky table and some rickety chairs are the only pieces of furniture here. Sit down. I think I'm comfortable standing, thanks. She shrugs her arms. Suit yourself. She leans on one of the walls. The name's Mia. I'm guessing you're here. Your visit here isn't a happy coincidence. I don't know you, so you're either new in New York or kept an outstandingly low profile. Both sound suspect, so before we take these pleasantries further, answer me this. Who do you run with? Can, but I'm looking to switch. I don't know if that would give her trust. Sophie would immediately probably make her not trust me. Independence is a straight up lie, but it's probably the best way to get through. I'm independent. I don't bow to anyone. Isn't that adorable? Listen, fledgling, you don't get to be this fresh in the game and not pick a side. Those Second Inquisition are all too happy to pick on delusional kids like you. So are the cams. They offer you rewards aplenty for your servitude, but never actually deliver. Fortunately for you, there's another option. But before I get to that, let's get one thing out of the way. She leans in. If this is some clever ploy to oust me to you out of my domain, or if you're just here to spy on me and the movement, I'll make sure that you don't enjoy undeath much longer. Got it. You can tell it's a purely rhetorical question. Right, here's the pitch. The Camarilla like to think they're the vanilla option. What with Prince Bitch Panhard pretending that they always were in charge, but New York has never been a fully cammy city. They might have won the city in '99, but Cams got their asses handed to them many times over the years. And the movement has been here at least as long as they have. Hell, I'd moved to NYC before World War II, and that was a good while after I'd seen the Camarilla for what it is, a way to keep us all in line and subservient. The Ivory Tower will tell you they're the only safeguard for the traditions, and that's kind of the problem. There's only one tradition we in the movement feel should be respected. The Masquerade, obviously. Everything else? Ask the prince and she'll tell you it's a logical continuation of the Masquerade, but really it's just a way to keep the elders powerful and in control. There's truth to both sides of that argument. That's all I'll say. She grimaces. But here's the thing. For all the talk of the bloodsuckers being solitary creatures, we need a community to keep up the Masquerade. Community, yes, but authority, not so much. We need a council of peers to keep the assholes and power-drunk fledglings in check, but not a feudal prince to tell you where to feed or who to hunt down when they step on her toes. She takes a brief break in her indignant rant. This is what I'm talking about. They got a council, so, that sounds too good to be true. Mia bares her teeth in a predatory smile. You better believe it. Sure, we still have a struggle with the urges of our kind, but it's safer. And more fair. We're as free as our condition permits, but unlike Autarchus, we don't stand alone. Ooh. So, the Autarchus, the Unbounded, vampires who remain outside the larger kindred society of a given city, either by ignorance or choice. Usually considered anarchs by members of the Camarilla, though most Unbound have nothing to do with the movement. Very, very, very true. Camarilla have a tendency to call anybody that is not with the Camarilla an anarch. It serves a dual purpose. Propaganda, for one. It immediately makes all negative actions taken by those who aren't aligned by anybody aligned with the anarchs. It's a very simple way for the Camarilla to move, and that kind of creates an immediate uphill battle for the anarchs to have to fight. Autarchus is a word that if you're playing in the Camarilla, or under the Camarilla, you might not hear all that often. Nominally, a guy by the name of Callahan has been overseeing the movement's agenda in NYC for the past few decades. Most follow his lead. See, and already we're starting to see. We want to meet up with somebody who's in the Anarchs who wants to take out Callahan. He's already working against those he's supposed to be friends with. Simply, I'm assuming, for power. Hayden Christensen's still glaring at me. Is Callahan like a kind of prince before the Anarchs? Yeah, that's about right, which isn't the way things should be. If you're concerned about being well received in this city, you might need to go through Callahan, but if you're serious about the Anarch cause itself, he ain't your guy. Callahan eats up fledglings like you and self-preservation. His position as Baron might be shaky, is mighty shaky now, not least due to the fact that he's backstabbed more than his share of allies. So let's take a look. Baron. At its most basic, a Baron is a strong Anarch who controls territory and wields authority over those living in it. One of most common types of barons is a lick who has a city neighborhood or even just a building. The other common type is a baron who attempts to control an entire city on his own, a local strongman. He behaves suspiciously like a Camarilla prince. My coterie, or my players rather, their coterie, are currently dealing with a new baron that popped up recently, the Baron of Brighton Park.
He's right on the border of Ventrue territory, and he came across Ventrue territory to offer an allegiance exchange with the bar owner, Ollie, one of our players, and Ollie turned it down, which was not something they wanted, and they came packing with guns, and it just turned into this bloody ass like brawl in the middle of his bar with vampiric strength being shown at its best. It was good stuff. So he's doing what any other old fart in a position of power would do. He's doubling down. Negotiations are out, intimidation is in. Tightening ranks is a precaution against the Second Inquisition. She surprises you by hacking and spitting on the ground in disgust. If you spend some time with the Cams, that should sound very familiar to you. He's no better than Panhard, and her cronies are at this point. Oops, that was a weirdly me speak bad. No, you need to contact Torque, and wouldn't you know it, it's your lucky night, because I'm the lick to do it through. How is he different from Callahan? Motherfucker, you're really asking for it. Her anger flares up again. I'll pretend that was just a naive question and not just a half-assed jab. I'm genuinely curious. I was hoping to, spark some, talking up of him. Torque is a leader, a local baron who's overseeing a small domain, but he's doing a very good job of it. Callahan knows this, so he's giving him shit. Torque is taking it like a champ. He's smart like that. For one of us rebels, he's got the patience of a saint. Makes you think back to how things used to be way back when, if the stories are to be believed. Anyway, you want to meet him? I'm going to require a show of goodwill first. That's fair. What do you have in mind? She flashes a mischievous half-smile. I appreciate your readiness, but I don't have the details just now. Ask for me at the bar when you're able. I'll leave something for you and we'll take it from there. Now come on, I gotta be going. She walks you out of the bar and you go your separate ways. Seems like there's nothing more to do than return here later and see if Mia can really help you contact Torque. What an interesting first half of a night. Our stalker wishes to see us. A nosy reporter certainly has my interest, and Tamika, as well as Agathon, already. Here I was thinking things were about to slow down, and only have things started to heat up.